Welcome, week 4 of Cocktails and Conversation with me, Nick Luck, calling you from Teddington, Southwest London, checking in first of all, the Pacific Coast, our LA lady, Brittany Urton. Britt, how are you doing?
Doing wonderful. It's getting really hot and toasty out here. It feels a little bit like summer, but doing good. Happy to be back, a part of my highlight of my week, joining you too.
Highlight of all our weeks, especially
Absolutely.
Mark Tubridy, New York State of Mind in Brooklyn, New York.
Absolutely,
I've been out of that apartment, but it's a beautiful apartment, as we see weekly.
Thank you so much.
Gorgeous.
I always try to give the credit to my wife, because really what this would look like if it was just left up to me is it would not be camera worthy. So I appreciate that. She appreciates that.
She's gonna come on one of these shows. I feel like we've heard so much about her and the great drinks that she makes you as well. So one of these weeks we got to get her on.
One of these weeks she'll make the drinks and I'll just sit on the other side of the camera. I don't know.
Mark, what have the children been learning this week?
Geez, well, actually, very exciting news. My older son actually just decided what college he's going to go to. So,
Brilliant.
Believe it or not,
That's
I have
fantastic.
an almost 18-year-old. So that's the big news. We sat down last night and kind of weighed different options, and we're very excited for him. So, I don't know what the fall semester is going to look like. He's going to be going to Baruch College. Wow, this is a very big announcement. We just decided last night. I don't know if his friends know, but now the world knows.
Yeah, now the world knows. It's okay.
We're very proud of him, though. So that's what we've been up
fantastic.
to on the family front. Yeah, absolutely.
This is very exciting. Mark is clearly far too young to have a child who's nearly 18.
Yeah, I'm a little flabbergasted by that statement.
Well, thank you. But no, they keep me young. They're great kids. I'm always learning from them. So, but they're doing great in school. They're hanging tight. All the teachers are kind of, playing it as they go at this point, trying to learn how to keep up the classes online. But I think everyone's doing a great job. I have so much respect for teachers, period. Yeah. But I mean, right now, to be able to adapt to this situation and still be there for our kids, that's really, admirable. And I just completely respect it. Yeah.
That's off to them. Nick, how has the Luck household been? I see your wife has been posting some wonderful videos of your youngsters that I've really enjoyed.
Well, as any parent who's homeschooling children will identify, a lot of schools are doing brilliant work trying to replicate classes with online learning and webinars, and they're doing a great job, but it's not straightforward. And you've got to key your, in our case, 5-year-old and 9-year-old into the tech and make sure it all works. And there was a great moment this morning, just when all 3 children were in the middle of melting down, where my eldest just sent my wife an email when she was downstairs with the 2 words, "Help me," in block capital. So we were feeling very smug because yesterday seemed to go extremely well. Today, not so much. But hey, we're learning and we're healthy, touch wood. So
you just got to take it day by day, one foot in front of the other.
I think we've all sent that text at one point or another to someone. The block, help me.
help me.
Well, we are trying on this show to help you keep a smile on your face during these very difficult times. We're also trying to raise some money for 3 very important charities as well. You've been unbelievably generous so far. We've had $6,000 generated just in a couple of weeks. No donation is too small. And a big shout to Chad Brown, our special guest last week, who was magnificent, insane, went through at least 7 mango martinis during the course of the time we were on air. He donated $3,000.
I think he wants to come back.
Well, he's welcome anytime. He was great value. We're donating to the Racetrack Chaplaincy of America, who are reaching out all across the United States. Breeders' Cups President Drew Fleming sent them a check last week for $25,000. You've been raising money for them as well. We are donating to the USBG National Charity Foundation's COVID-19 relief campaign, bolstering the Bartender Emergency Assistance Program that Mark's been telling you about, Mark, the mixologist at the 21 Club in Manhattan, and the Restaurant Workers Relief Program, a joint project from Maker's Mark and the Lee Initiative. We will be making a cocktail with Maker's Mark a little later on in the show, Brittany, but we've got a very special guest this week as well.
I cannot wait. This is something I've been looking forward to talking with him about, because he's a social media sensation in and of himself, but incredible trainer, former jockey. I'll let you do the intro.
Well, all I was going to say, as we're about to meet this man, is this is the work that he's been producing to cheer us all in recent weeks. Let's take a look at this. This is from this morning.
does it sound?
The sound's gone.
No,
Oh,
it
my
worked
word.
earlier.
We might,
This is what happens with technology.
we might try and get this later. Obviously, in the manner of all these great things, it worked fantastically well in rehearsal.
Naturally.
We're gonna have to bring him in now and say a very warm cocktails and conversation welcome, and it is here in England, 11:05 to Jamie Osborne, the man who went within a hair's breadth of landing one of the most audacious bids to win the Breeders' Cup Classic ever in 2014 with Toast of New York. We will raise a glass to you. You are
Yes.
a brilliant man in every respect. We will get this video out later on.
Cheers to you, Jamie.
Cheers,
Thank you for staying up for us.
It's coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Well, past my bedtime.
Listen, tell us about these videos you're making with the team and how it all started.
Well, it started because I had a bit of time on my hands, and I'm lucky enough to live and train in a beautiful place, and there were some stunning mornings, and I was just thinking about all the poor people sort of in lockdown. We're very fortunate that our job continues, and we don't have time to be bored. But I'm thinking about people that literally can't leave their apartments, and I thought it'd be nice to share those views with people. So you stick a bit of mushy music to it, and it looks all right. And then it's sort of momentum has grown, and some of them have been rather silly. Oh, here we are.
Oh, here we go. Let's take a look.
We gotta listen.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Oh.
When the road is rough ahead and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said. Oh, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you've got a friend in me.
That's genius.
It's so good.
Friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Incredible.
You got troubles, I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together and see it through. You've got a friend in me. Yeah, you've got a friend in me.
Wow. Awesome.
That's so good.
That is amazing.
Who's on the credits? Jamie?
Well, Susanna there playing the trumpet. I mean, she's amazing. I mean, she turned down a place in some very smart orchestra, turned down a place at Cambridge to read English, and she's shoveling poo for me. She's an amazing girl. It's Jamie Bargery on the guitar. So he's been writing out for me, and he's been singing rather a lot of my daughter. I'm not sure about him, but he's probably quite a good jockey, and he's quite a good guitar player also. So we'll let him off.
That was fantastic. How many takes?
I made
one and done.
No, I made an error last night because I thought it would be nice to have a sort of COVID compliant drinks party before we shot it in the barn. So we shot it about 7:30 last night. Sadly, the drinks element of the whole thing went on a little longer than ideal. So trying to rally the troops afterwards was not easy. I mean, it was.
I'm sure.
Yeah, that was an error. I think it would have been significantly better if we'd done the shoot before the drinks.
But you
so
are obviously running such a happy ship in difficult circumstances and keeping a smile on everyone's face. It's just it really is a great thing, I think.
Well, everybody has their own set of worries at the moment. We've all got, we're in an extraordinary time. None of us ever expected that we would live through something like this. We are one of those businesses that has to keep going. So I'm expecting 30 odd people every day to turn up for work and continue at a time where they've all got their own worries. We've all got our own worries. the team have been fantastic. I mean, I think it's at a time like this that you probably realize more about the people that are around you. And you know, it started out, look at him with his telephone out again. And now it's at the point where, you know, everybody's chucking ideas in, and everybody can see the feedback that it's getting, and it encourages us to keep doing it. The best fun was doing the one earlier in the week, the grandstand one with the different sports. I mean, shooting that was just, we had the best fun shooting that. We did it over sort of 24 hours, and you know, it's great for morale. Everybody's enjoying it, and obviously people are sort of enjoying watching them. You know, the hits or the views are sort of escalating, but I have no idea what the next one's going to be.
And Jamie, just looking at the comments here we've had already, just in the last couple of minutes, Kathy Wood, Brooklyn Michelle says, "Oh my God, I'm crying." Amy Tremper, bravo. James Anderson, that's a great group of people in your barn. Kristen says, "I love Jamie." Lauren, awesome horseman, the most optimistic people in the world. Hannah says that video needs to go viral. Yeah.
How about Charlie Varix? First thing I look for on Twitter when I wake up in the morning is a Jamie Osborne latest video production. The grandstand one was epic. Did you feel at the time that there was an appetite, a need for this? Because you've been on social media taking it by storm for quite some time.
Look, I kind of have used social media really mainly for my own amusement. I kind of work on the theory that if I find something marginally funny, somebody else might want to see it. But I think, I mean, the funniest for me was the grandstand one, and I don't know if you can put that up there, Nick. But,
yeah, we will get it up before the end of the show for sure.
And it's interesting because I'm not. I think there was one morning where I had nothing planned, and there was an amazing sunrise, and 2 deer jumped out in front of me, and I sort of at the time I thought that everybody wanted to see funny things and a bit of amusement. And I toyed with the idea of posting that, and I posted it and everybody loved it. So it was interesting just that, you know, at a time like this, it's not all about trying to play the you know, the humor joke. You know, I think people want to see these things. And there were some amazing shots of these 2 wild deer just on our gallop, you know.
Yeah.
I think the video you just posted just really hits home with people. One, because it's a song that everyone knows and loves, but there's so much heart behind it. And the fact that you've got each of your staff with a horse, because right now everyone in the horse racing industry knows how much that they mean to us, and even more so right now because there's something about, and you know this, being with a horse that can turn around a mood. And so they are your friend that you're in need of right now. And that video, I can tell, again, just by these comments, how much that song combined with the video that you had really hit home. I loved it when I watched it this morning. So thank you. Thank you for bringing smiles to people's faces.
I mean, I also think that people have a notion that racehorses are these wired up mad animals. And, you know, I think what we've shown by playing guitars on horses, you know, saluting the Queen while cantering around the gallop, and various other silly things that, you know, they're not, you know, if they're in the right environment, they can be very chilled. Yeah. We saw those horses last night. They were all 2-year-olds last night in that.
Unbelievable.
You know,
that's impressive.
It could have been the way that you're moving the camera there, but it almost looked like they were responding to the music. There was something so beautiful about the way that they were kind of feeling it as well. So
Mark,
it's a beautiful thing.
Might be pushing it a little bit.
Okay. It could have been nodding the camera. I don't know. But
I've seen videos like that. Horses nodding along.
The cocktails, Mark.
Jamie, Patty Reeves has been on. I know you know well, Dean and Patty, who took a slice of toast in New York before the Pegasus. We've been there in person to see his views. Such a great team. We're going to talk Toast of New York plenty during the course of the next 45 minutes. But Mark is very good at cocktails. He is one of Manhattan's finest mixologists. So, Mark, take it away with something Jamie Osborne could use right now.
Yes. I know we're about to head into a very popular cocktail here. Guys, when we think of bartending in the 1980s, a few images come to mind, mainly Tom Cruise flipping bottles, technicolored shots with provocative names, and sort of an overall kind of disregard on the part of the bartending community for fresh ingredients at that time. But in the midst of that otherwise sort of superficial era in bartending, we had some amazing visionaries in the craft, like Dick Bradsell, based in London. And he was still turning out some amazing classic cocktails, the most iconic of which is the espresso martini. So legend has it that a very famous model at the time walked into his establishment and asked for a drink that was both going to wake her up and also, let's say, relax her. That's not what she said, but this is a family show, so we're going to keep it at that. But in the brasserie where Bradsell worked, they did a lot of coffees as well. So he had access to an espresso machine, and he decided to combine that coffee with vodka, a little sugar, and coffee liqueur, and the rest is really history. So that was the espresso martini. So to make this today, we are, of course, going to need our Tito's handmade vodka. Mm-hmm. We'll need a coffee liqueur. If anyone's following at home, should be an easy one to do. You can either use Kahlua or Tia Maria works very well also. We will need freshly brewed espresso, so we'll get to that in just a minute. And also simple syrup, which, as we've discussed in prior episodes, is equal parts sugar and water. Okay, this is definitely one of those cocktails that we want to shake. So we're going to want our cocktail shaker here. As always, for consistency, let's have something to measure with. And we're going to do a martini glass for this. Of course, this isn't that kind of classic gin and vermouth martini, but another thing in the 80s is that we started getting everything martini, apple martini, peach martini, so on and so forth.
We are also Chad Brown.
Mango martini, which is now officially known as the Chad Brown, I think.
It is.
We're going to need some coffee beans for garnish as well. All right, guys, so the first thing that we want to do is get our espresso brewing. So I'm going to turn around here. If you have one of these automated machines like I have, that's pretty ideal, very easy. Start this going.
My parents are so happy about this. My dad's a big espresso martini fan, Mark, and he had my mom go to the grocery store to get all of the ingredients so they could make it along with us. So shout out to mom and dad.
Fantastic. You know, this is one of those drinks where at the 21 Club, when we get an order for one espresso martini, I have my bar back bring enough coffee for like 5 or 6. Because once one appears on the bar, they spread like wildfire. So it's one of those drinks that people kind of forget that it exists sometimes, but I think people love it. And as we'll talk about later on, there are a lot of great times that this cocktail is appropriate. So while our espresso is brewing, we're going to start with a ½ ounce of our simple syrup going into our mixing tin. So again, that's equal parts sugar and water, that's syrup. It's a great ingredient to have on hand for your home cocktails. Even in the cocktails that we've done over the past couple of weeks, a lot of them have
used it quite a bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of those staples. I say it's always good to have that on hand. Just it lasts for about 2 weeks if you make it 1-to-1 sugar to water. But you can actually do what's called a rich simple syrup and do 2 parts sugar to 1 part water, and that will last for about a month. So that could be useful if you don't make cocktails that often and you do want to have that on hand. That rich syrup is a great way to go. All right, so we're going to do the same amount of coffee liqueur. So we just did ½ ounce of simple syrup. We're going to do the same amount, ½ ounce of Kahlua here. Beautiful. And the good stuff here.
Are you taking notes, Nick? You look like you're taking notes.
The thing is, when anyone says to me, if we're away somewhere, I mean, hopefully those days will return. If we're away somewhere racing for a week and you're out at dinner, and there are people who will always say, "What? You know what? So it could be a good idea now, an espresso martini."
Yeah.
You know, at 4 o'clock in the morning, when your heart is trying to escape from your rib cage, and you wake up in a cold sweat, that espresso martini was never a good idea. Or maybe it was, but the fourth one definitely wasn't.
Well, I was testing out this recipe last night, and I tried it at like 5 o'clock. So there is this adverse effect, which is that I was up until 3 a.m. So, but it was delicious.
Oh no!
So it's okay. It's okay. I'm bouncing back. I had some coffee this morning too. So guys, we've finished doing our espresso. I did want to mention, if you don't have one of these automated machines, or if you don't have a manual machine, which is really great, you can get some great shots of espresso. I would recommend getting one of those stovetop espresso makers. They're called mocha pots. It's a great low-tech way of being able to brew espresso. So take a look at those stovetop espresso makers. All right, guys, so we are going to do an ounce of our freshly brewed espresso. So just to recap, we did 2 ounces of Tito's. We're doing 1 ounce of espresso and ½ ounce each of simple syrup and Kahlua. So guys, there are a lot of different variations on this cocktail. People add Bailey's Irish cream to it, regular cream. They'll do all sorts of different flavors. But I got to tell you, the original recipe is so delicious. So I think this is a great way to start off. All right, we're going to add some ice to our cocktail shaker.
Ready to hear the shake, shake, shake.
Yeah. And when we shake this properly, we should get some beautiful frothy foam on top of the cocktail.
Love it.
And that's going to act as suspends our coffee beans at the end. So let's give it that good shake.
I'm liking the questions we've got coming in. We're going to have to get Jamie to answer a few.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got one I can ask now. A certain Wolf Thompson Jones from the family. Well, we know the answer. Who is your favorite child?
He is.
Yeah, at the moment.
I have two children that I bred and 2 children that I bought. And I have to say that the ones that I bought are much nicer than the ones I bred. And he's the eldest. He's the eldest of the acquired ones. He's a good boy. Right. He's my favorite.
How did it turn out, Mark?
It looks beautiful. As you can see, we got that frothy foam on top, which is what we want. And that's going to be important because we're going to do 3 espresso beans right on top. That's going to float beautifully.
Always odd numbers, right?
It always looks good as well.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And that does serve some aromatic properties too. So in general, we try not to do garnishes that can't enhance the experience of the cocktail. Although I'm going to completely ignore that with our second cocktail. You'll see that later on. Rules are meant to be broken. But these espresso beans do give you that beautiful aroma when you go down to that first sip. So this is what we should be looking like.
That looks delicious.
Beautiful. So guys, as I mentioned, this is a fantastic cocktail to have at the end of a big meal, or after quarantine's over if you're trying to rev up for a night out, or if it's just a really long day working from home right now and you need a little pick-me-up. Pour it into a mug and just say it's coffee. You have my approval to do so. So cheers, guys. That's our espresso martini.
Oh, thank you for that. Cheers. I should clear this up. It's not water. It's not water in my glass, but I thought I was going to get a really hard time for admitting what is in this champagne glass. It's a White Claw. I'm just going to admit it. It's a White Claw.
That's all right. We're with you. We're with you every step of the way. You got to have a little of what you fancy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make it a little fancy there, but I would much rather be having Mark's espresso martini.
Take a look at this. Oh, that's the best bit.
I like the swimming coming up. There you go.
Oh. That's amazing.
For those of you not familiar, for those of you not familiar with the theme tune, that was the theme tune to Grandstand, which for 35 years was the BBC sports magazine every Saturday. So it's a show pretty much
over 35 in English to understand that music, don't you know?
Exactly, but you understand the concept. All your staff are having a great time, which was so. You reckon that was your favorite one?
Yeah, it was the best fun to make, and I think it's the boys and girls enjoyed doing that the most. Yeah.
So you said that was about a 24-day ordeal, and then how long did it take to edit it?
Not long. There's an app here that can make anyone look quite good at it. You know. No, we did.
Have to learn that app.
It started some of it at Evening Stables on Monday afternoon, and we finished it off. The running with the riders and everything was after we'd finished on Tuesday morning, and I had it out by late morning Tuesday. It's not as difficult as it appears.
I mean, before we get to your accolades, writing and training, we can't move from the social media sensation before mentioning
as well, Brittany. You know,
I know, but Bad Bobby. I mean, that video has 405,000 views.
Well,
did you have ever expected when you're yelling at your dog as he's running after the horses that was going to go viral?
It probably has that on Twitter, but somebody told me it has over 5 million on Monday morning.
It's so good.
Yeah. I actually only kept filming because I thought, oh no, there's going to be an accident now and there's going to be an insurance claim. I better just keep my camera on it just in case. And thankfully, when there were no accidents, I thought, oh, well, I'll post it. And I didn't think it would do what it did. I made a huge mistake early on because within an hour or something of it being on Twitter, I had an email from somebody asking if they could use it on their site, of course. So I emailed back, said, yeah, no problem. I didn't realize that I just signed away the rights to one of these big websites. The small print with me agreeing it meant that I had no right to the film at all. So I think when we then went to put it on Facebook or something, we were even breaking the rules then. But I never got a legal letter, so hey, we got away with it.
There's another question here from a member of the clan, Hubert Osborne. Who's the...
Yeah. Okay. He's my eldest homebred. Now, he and Tom, the number 2 bought child, they work together in their own business called Vovi. Hubie is an amazing filmmaker, and that's what he's doing. He's making content for people. Tom is the designer. They've got a great little business going there in Maida Vale. They're both at home at the moment, and they're both working very hard. And I have asked for a little assistance with my editing, and I've been told they're too busy. So Hubie
busy is good, though.
The most talented. I mean, he obviously gets it down the damn side. His very talented mother. I'm saying just in case she's watching.
It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely, Katie. But if you are watching, I can confirm that you are. For those, actually, all in all seriousness, Jamie, and you are. People used to call you an artist in the saddle, but your wife used to. I hasten to add, is a genuine talent.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she's quite amazing. I mean, really, truly, her work is one of the reasons that we ended up getting married, because in 1992, when I rode 5 winners at the Cheltenham Festival, at the time, the only person to have done that previously was Fred Winter. And I heard that he'd had the 5 horses painted by Peter Beagle, who at the time was a famous portrait painter. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to get these 5 horses painted. The only person I knew that could paint was Mrs. Thompson-Jones down the road. So I went to see her and I commissioned the painting and ended up marrying the artist. So, hey, those 5 winners have got a lot. So there was a lot of me spending time in Mrs. Thompson-Jones' studio discussing this painting.
Mm. Discussing the painting.
Water under the bridge now, you know, we can joke.
And I walked, there was a terrific exhibition last year at Keeneland, and there were 2 or 3 of Katie's paintings there, and they were attracting like significant interest. They are absolutely beautiful.
She's very good. Yeah, not many of them come to the secondhand market. Mostly they're commissions. So at the moment, she's normally got a famous horse on the easel. And thankfully, look, she's very good at it. God, I'm getting brownie points now, aren't I? I mean, she's. If anybody wants to see her work, she's been married several times, and maybe that's the reason why she hasn't taken my name. So if you go to katieosullivanart.com, you'll see some of her work there. But no, she's pretty talented. Tricky, difficult. Artists are, but you know.
Could probably say trainers are too.
Hey, we've had some questions in. Jordan says, if you could pick any horse to train in history, who would you have picked?
Galileo, get a nomination.
Why?
Because he'd been a cash cow for the last 20 years.
Free nomination every year.
That's an easy one to answer.
All right. Favorite day in your career, riding or training, says Eddie.
I think probably winning the Irish Grand National for the late John Mulhern in the mid-90s was favourite day riding. That meant a lot to everybody involved in the horse. And he was a magnificent man.
Wasn't the horse owned by Charles Hockey, the Irish Taoiseach?
It was, yeah. And at the time, he was a very popular man.
Very popular man, yes.
Training-wise, I would say probably Toast of New York's win in Dubai, because so many people thought I was bonkers to do it, and he won well. And so the sense of relief that gives you is amazing, and sort of satisfaction that I was right and they were wrong.
I mean, he's such a fun horse. But back to your riding days, you mentioned the 5 victories at Cheltenham. Why? And I read this quite a bit when I was looking at your riding career. You were reputed to be the Queen Mother's favorite jockey. Why was that? And why do you think that was?
Because I don't know. I was very fortunate enough to ride for her latterly, later on in my career, with the horses that he had in training with Ian Balding. So I used to ride those, and obviously I would have met her on a few occasions. She was just marvelous. I don't know, I'm sure I wasn't her favorite jockey. Somebody probably said it, and it's something that the press latched on, and it stuck. So I think it's probably one of those urban myths, really.
What do you enjoy more, riding or training?
Riding.
Yeah? Why? How come?
Well, I think when you're in your 20s and you spent most of your childhood dreaming about wanting to be a sportsman, wanting to be a national hunt jockey, and then it actually occurs, and you're doing it to quite a decent level. There was never a day where I felt like I was going to work. And you're living out your dream. Now, I really enjoy what I'm doing now, but it's not as pure as riding. Riding, you've got your saddle, and away you go. You're a gun for hire. You're not employing anybody. You don't have to run a business. Just get enough work and you get enough money. And this is a whole different thing. It's not just about the horses. I love being with the horses, and I love the training and the management and the plotting with the animals. But there's a lot more to training than just doing that. We have to run a business. We have to manage staff. We have to manage clients. There are property issues. There's all sorts of things to go with it. So it's not just as pure as the riding. But I enjoy this very much. I'm just not probably doing it at a level that's satisfying me yet. I need to up my game a bit. I think I'm a very just the world haven't realized it yet.
Well, this is it. You always said you were an overrated jockey and an underrated trainer.
Yeah, and I'll stand by that, Nick. Yeah.
But it was always a joy to watch Jamie riding, because it's always great to watch somebody good at what they do. That's what we're going to do to
you as a broadcaster, Nick. You are the best.
Is he not? I mean, I agree.
Read the script.
No. All hail Nick Luck. He is hands down one of the best broadcasters I've ever seen.
It's 11:34, so I'll take that now. Mark's very good at making cocktails. Mixologist, what have you got for us now?
Thank you. So we're going to be leading into a new classic called the Paper Plane Cocktail in just a minute. But I wanted to take this opportunity. First, there was a tweet earlier that I didn't get a chance to do a shout out to, and that's the Kentucky Horse Country. So guys, thank you for watching. And also, you guys may have noticed that as delicious as that espresso martini is, I've been sipping on this old fashioned here. And this is actually a rum old fashioned. I want to thank our mutual friend, Herb Carlitz, for bringing to my attention this amazing new brand of rum. So I'm going to give him a quick shout out if that's okay. So this is 10-to-1 rum, and they were kind enough to send me a sample of their white rum and their dark rum as well. So this old fashioned that I'm drinking is with the dark rum. And what's really special about this is a very unique blend. So this has Barbados and Dominican 8-year column still rums in there, Jamaican pot still rum, and Trinidadian rum. And all of that blend is aged in American white oak ex-bourbon barrels. And then for me, the most important thing for rum is that there's no added flavoring, no added coloring, no added sugar. So what you see in this bottle is all natural, and it really is delicious. So I just want to say thank you to 10 to 1. I don't know if the Breeders' Cup is looking for a rum sponsor, but with odds like 10 to 1, maybe that could help. I don't know. But
it fits in.
It does fit in. So guys, when I was creating the Breeders' Cup cocktails, I kept asking myself one question, which is, what makes for a truly classic cocktail? One that can be enjoyed by anyone, anywhere, and really stand the test of time. And what it came down to is creating recipes that are simple, delicious, and feature widely accessible ingredients. And the cocktail that we're about to make is proof that classics can be created even during this modern era if you adhere to those principles. So the Paper Plane cocktail was created in 2007 by renowned milk and honey bartender Sam Ross. And it really is an incredible drink. It's equal parts bourbon, Amaro, Aperol, and lemon juice. So equal parts widely accessible ingredients. So it fits all the criteria to become a new classic. Again, created in 2007. So this is only 13 years old. But if you go to almost any bar in the world and you order that, these days bartenders will know what it is, really good bartenders, and they'll have the ingredients to make it. So that's what we're looking for in terms of a great new classic cocktail. All right, so what we're going to need for this recipe is, of course, Maker's Mark bourbon. We will need Aperol, which is an Italian aperitif. Yeah, similar to Campari, but it's lower in alcohol by volume, and it's less bitter as well. We're going to need Amaro, which is an Italian herbal digestif. All right, typically had after dinner.
Is that like a what do you call that horrible stuff? Jaeger? Is that like Jägermeister?
It is, yes. Jägermeister is a type of Amaro. So traditionally for this recipe, actually Sam Ross would have used Amaro Nonino. So there are a wide different range. There's a huge family of different Amari, which is the plural of Amaro. They're really great drunk neat, so just by themselves. But when you add them to cocktails, you get incredible depth of flavor. So it's kind of like those bitters that we were dashing into the Manhattan. But the difference is that bitters are considered non-potable, meaning you wouldn't want to take a sip of that. Whereas Amaro is potable. So that's something that you can have. It's not so concentrated that you can't drink it by itself. So that's really kind of the difference there. Now, we are going to be shaking this cocktail as well. So we'll need our cocktail shaker, our measuring tool. I always try to give you guys a heads up of what you'll need before we start. And I like to do this drink. Yeah, I like to do this drink in a coupe glass. Again, you could do this in a martini glass, you know, as long as it has a stem, that suits our purposes. All right, so beginning always with the least expensive ingredient, we're going to start with our fresh lemon juice. Now, here's the key on this one. Again, what makes it so simple is it's equal parts of everything. So take the approximated volume of your glass. For me, this coupe glass is about 4 ounces, and just divide that by 4. That's going to be your proportion for each. So I'm going to do 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice.
Nick, I thought you were going to make a drink with him this week. Is that next week?
You wouldn't believe. Well, you would believe this. At the moment, it's actually pretty hard to get your hands on these ingredients because the only places that are open are supermarkets, and you're allowed to go out for necessary shopping. And I didn't put Amaro on the list on Monday.
The necessary shopping list. Yeah.
So Laura didn't come back with any Amaro to go with the rest of the groceries. So I thought it might not be a good idea to spend 2.5 hours in a queue this evening to walk straight up to the booze counter and say, "Can I have my essential bottle of Amaro, please, to take home with me?" Or get stopped on the way.
I think maybe what we can do is a whiskey sour or something. If you have the whiskey on hand, you have lemon juice and simple syrup or sugar, we can make it work.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah. So guys, I just added our Aperol and our Amaro. So again, equal parts. I did 1 ounce of each. We're gonna do our 4th and final ingredient now. Our Maker's Mark bourbon. Now, again, 1 ounce of this as well. This is one of my favorite new cocktails. And, you know, I mentioned to you in the first episode, when someone orders a drink that I haven't heard of before, I don't get embarrassed or, you know, feel bad about that. I love it. I love it. Even while we're doing these programs, if someone wants to stump me with a cocktail, I'd be welcome to hear that because that's an opportunity to grow and learn it for the next time. So again, this cocktail is relatively new, but it is one of my favorites now. So let's add some ice to our cocktail shaker.
Maker's Mark, the official bourbon of the Breeders' Cup, of course.
Yep, absolutely. All right, now we're going to give it another really good shake here.
Got in a photo from the Urton family. They're loving their espresso martini, and they say a big thank you to you, Mark.
Awesome, fantastic. Tell them I'm happy that it went well. I don't know. So my wife was off to the side, and as soon as I finished the espresso martini, she swooped in, and that it didn't stay in my hand for more than she's smiling over there. Yeah, so that's another reason why I'm drinking my old fashioned over here.
Are we ever going to get to see her?
I know. Can we join? Can she join?
Maybe one of these weeks. We have to give her plenty of notice, but all right, guys. So we're going to fine strain our cocktail into our coupe glass. So now remember, when we fine strained the south side a few weeks back, that was to remove those little bits of mint that were broken up while we were shaking. Another really important reason to fine strain when you're doing a cocktail served straight up, meaning without ice, is that you have little chips of ice that have been formed while you're shaking it. You don't want that in your drink unless you really insist in a martini that you have shaken, because that's going to continue to melt and dilute the drink afterwards. So we're going to try to get those pesky ice chips out of the way right away. I'm going to strain this, and I know you can't see it, but I'll hold it up in just a second. Beautiful.
I'm looking up like I'm going to be able to see it.
All right.
You're learning.
So now this is the drink right here. Okay. Now you can actually serve this without a garnish.
That's gorgeous.
It's a beautiful color. You get a little bit of a darker sort of red color, especially from the addition of the Amaro. Now, you can serve this drink without a garnish. I think Sam Ross actually intended it that way, but I've seen it in the past. It's really kind of cute. If you have some special or extra time on your hands, with, you know that I do, you can have a little paper plane here.
Make a paper plane.
That's my younger son's work right there. He did a fantastic job. So we're going to put that in there. Guys, this is a new classic inspired by, I didn't mention it before, but the name comes from the British rapper song MIA. She did the song Paper Planes, and Sam was listening to it when he created the cocktail. So that's where the name came from. So a new classic cocktail. Again, the main key is that it's simple. It calls for, easily accessible ingredients, meaning it's replicable, but most importantly, it's delicious. So guys, cheers. That's the Paper Plane.
Yeah.
Mark,
Cheers.
All right, guys. Cheers,
Mark,
guys.
you're an absolute superstar. Thank you
are
very
a star.
much.
Thank you so much, guys.
We'll check right back in with you next time.
Beautiful. I appreciate it, guys.
Oh, I've got
Enjoy
a
your week.
request maybe. I have one request. I don't know if this is on the list coming up. I don't know what for next week, but cucumber martini sounds kind of
definitely do that.
And fresh.
Definitely do that. Yeah.
Nick wants no part of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cucumber, bring it on.
I think especially as we can see the warmer months coming out there, whether or not we can actually get inside, I think a cucumber martini is a fantastic idea. So let's put that on the docket.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Brittany.
Mark.
Mark Tuberty,
he was wonderful.
mixologist from the 21 Club. Brittany, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask Jamie what his cocktail of choice is, or drink of choice.
Currently a coffee, but actually, could I take this opportunity? Can I just direct this show for a minute? Because there is a charity at the moment called Do It for Dan, who is he's a child in Ireland who's got a rare spinal muscular atrophy disease, and to raise awareness of this thing, people are drinking raw
egg.
Now, I have been nominated by Matt Chapman, of all people. So I thought that maybe I should take up this challenge live on your show now. And I'm going to nominate Nick Luck. I have to nominate somebody. I'm going to nominate Brittany Urton. I'm going to nominate Mark the Cocktail. Dr. Evil himself.
Rob Baffert.
Yeah. And also, I think we need to get this charity out to the Middle East. So I'm going to nominate Salim bin Gadar as well, my good friend out in Dubai. Okay?
Yeah.
And I am now going to break this egg. Says how good I am at this. Hang on, I'll show you, but I'm doing it.
Oh.
All right, egg. Brittany, you and Jamie talk. I'm going to go and get my egg.
Okay.
You're going to do it right now?
So remember,
next week's show.
Do it for Dan. He's just
do it for Dan. Use the hashtag. Take a video. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Oh yeah, how'd that go down?
I have a very narrow throat. That was a struggle. No, it was okay. It was okay. We did it for Dan.
Well done.
So,
We'll post that
really,
video and get it
you
trending.
could swallow one of those?
Probably not. I was hoping to push it to next week, but Nick off to the kitchen right now going to do it. I saw Joseph O'Brien and Aiden O'Brien take part in the challenge not too long ago.
Donica spat his out.
But that doesn't seem fair.
No.
Yeah, I think that he needs to do it again. Perhaps
big donation to the charity for spitting out an egg.
No, I think he needs to do it again. What are the chances that we could get Bob Baffert to do this? Because we will try our best.
Brittany, your powers of persuasion. I'm sure you can do anything.
I'll work it. Nick, are you taking part right now?
Oh, yeah.
You want to hope it's not fertilized, Nick.
That's the one. The problem is that.
Well, so who are you challenging? You have been challenged by Jamie Osborne.
You have to now pass it on to a few people, Nick.
Mm-hmm. But I'll do it first. And then. Have you done it, Jamie?
Yeah, you looked at it. Yeah, nothing to it, Nick.
There we are. There's the egg. Okay. There's the shell.
I mean, the key's got to be to like an oyster.
Is it? I don't know. Down we go.
He doesn't look phased at all.
Such a pro.
You know, I watched.
Well done. And raising my do it for
Nicky
Dan.
Henderson doing it earlier. Champion jumps trainer in the UK, and he looked like he'd been drinking a raw egg for breakfast all his life. It's just like it's what certain people do, I think, every morning.
I tell you what I would like to say about this Do It for Dan. There's a treatment in America, Brittany, that can change this boy's life, but it's going to cost $2 million. Surely the person who is providing this treatment needs to have a little chat with himself. Huh? How can you charge $2 million to change somebody's life, to save somebody's life? Isn't that sad? Sorry to lower that. So I know this is meant to be a bit of fun.
No, it's
I think you're something that needs to be 1.6 million pounds have been raised. That's remarkable. Let's get this trending, you guys. Hashtag do it for Dan.
Get an egg, Brittany.
Will Brittany drink the raw egg before the end of the show? That's what I want to know.
She will. She's got 12 minutes.
Will she do it?
An egg.
Look there. Will she come back? That's the question. Hey, but while Brittany's away, Jamie, I just want to have a little look at one of my favorite moments of Osborne in the saddle. If you weren't looking at it when I went to go and get my egg, which is the 1997 Supreme Novices Hurdle at Cheltenham. Very firm ground. That's all I can look at you there, motionless as everybody else is off the bridle. Good horse, this.
Hey, these were the easy ones, Nick. You'd have won on this, Bill.
I doubt it. Not unless they'd have allowed a stone and a half overweight.
He was very good this day. I think if he ran in the champion hurdle on the same day, he would have nearly won that. Look, I was lucky. Both Norman and I had ridden him in his sprint. And I was riding for Jim Old at the time, and I can't remember the name of the horse, but he'd won his half six, and I had a choice between the two animals. And I actually chose Jim Old's horse, and he went lame a couple of days before. So it was a bit of a scramble to get back on that horse. Norman wasn't too chuffed with me. I did it in rather a devious manner.
No, I don't believe it.
Hey, it was, the art of being a good jockey really is to get on the fastest horses.
Johnny says, Jamie, what's the funniest story you can share with us? Probably the one about Brittany Earton being persuaded to eat a raw egg on a live transatlantic popular telecast.
Before I do this, though, Nick, you need to give your shout outs. How many people? 3? Does he need to challenge?
Yeah, you need to just come up with some people that you think are suitable. We need to raise awareness for Dan.
For people who are game to do this kind of thing.
And people who are not.
Even if they're not.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I will nominate. Oh, my God. I've got egg all over my desk. That's not good.
You didn't finish your egg?
I did finish it.
That's as bad as Donica O'Brien.
A little dribble down the side of the glass there.
You have to do another one if you've dribbled.
Yep. No dribbles.
It wasn't that bad, to be honest.
Oh, does this mean it's my turn?
Listen, I don't want to keep you up past midnight. Are you going to do this now, Britt, or at the end of the show?
You want me to wait? I can wait till the end of the show. Just leave it on that.
Let's
get through this. Because we don't want to keep them.
Well, I want to properly talk about the great Toast of New York, because this is the horse that everybody who's watching will be familiar with. The horse with the looks of a movie star with a funky pedigree, who came this close to winning a Breeders' Cup Classic in 2014. This kind of stuff doesn't happen. The more I think about it, Jamie, the more I think back on it, the more outlandish the whole adventure seems.
Yeah. It was slightly surreal. An amazing year with him. He only ran 4 times as a 3-year-old, but they were 4 really exciting trips. Still second though, isn't it? It's a long way off winning.
It's still an amazing effort, though. I saw a piece where you were reflecting on Toast of New York's journey and that race, and you got quite emotional about it. How often do you reflect on that day and what he did for you?
Never. That's
really
why. No. I mean, God, the one thing you've got to do in this game is keep moving forward. No, there's no time to look back. That's gone. It was great while it was happening. I'd like to find another horse as good as him. They don't come along too often. And he nearly did pull off the impossible dream, which, it was hugely exciting. But at the end of the day, he didn't win. We don't survive in this game if we don't win.
What do you think made him so special? Sorry, Nick.
No, go ahead.
He had a lot of ability. And he was an amazing constitution, to do what he did. I mean, his 4 runs as a 3-year-old were Dubai, New York, Del Mar, and Santa Anita, and he came home each time. To have the mentality to do that as a 3-year-old was amazing. Sadly, injury took over in the end. And he never quite fulfilled what we hoped he could do, because obviously we were dreaming of Dubai World Cups and coming back to another Breeders' Cup Classic, but it never happened. But we enjoyed the year with him very much. But when you've tasted horses of that caliber, I have a real appetite to find some more.
And he came in pretty unusual circumstances, didn't he? As I said, he had an unusual pedigree. He was a beautiful looking horse, but not from the kind of.
No, Timmy Hyde bought him as a short yearling in Kentucky. He came and he went through the ring at Goffs, and he failed to sell. He had a 60 grand reserve, and he was let out unsold. And funnily enough, the last live bid was John Gosden. So how things could have been different. At the time, I had no money to spend at all. I was struggling. And 60 grand for me was a huge throw of the dice. And I eventually bought him at a slightly reduced level in the bar at 11 o'clock at night, the day that he'd gone through the ring. And he was owned half by Paul Shanahan and half by Timmy Hyde. And I got him home and I hated him. He was the last yearling I had to sell. He was like, Michael didn't buy him until Royal Ascot week. So June, he was mine until June. Nobody understood his pedigree. Well, he didn't have a pedigree. He was gypsy bred. He had a big head at the time. He was a plain looking yearling. No one liked him. So he was the last horse. He was the last horse on the shelf. But that happens. Might happen again this year.
They surprise you sometimes.
Well, hang on, Brittany. We just got to raise the eyebrow there. I'm not letting that go. If it happens again, don't clutch yourself like that. What might it be?
Well, look, the current worldwide scenario has meant selling 2-year-olds is likely a bit of an uphill battle. And I do own a few at the moment, but I've sold, I bought 40 odd on spec and I've sold the bulk of them, but I have a handful left. And, you know, I'm not steering anyone in any firm direction. People come and they have a look and they see and what they like. But I think looks like some of the better ones have been left on the shelf.
Okay.
Just no one at the moment or any appetite for it.
Brittany, how's that egg getting on?
I mean, it's just sitting in the glass here, waiting for me to drink it and do it for Dan.
So I need to nominate my 3 people.
Yes.
So I am going to nominate the Breeders' Cup's trusty Vice President of Media, Mr. Peter Rotundo. I'm going to nominate. Well, should I nominate some of our NBC colleagues who'll be joining us on this show next week, or is that a poor career move? Do you think?
Oh, I think it's fitting because it's for a good cause, bringing awareness.
Okay. Okay. Then I'm gonna nominate Lafitte Pinkeye III. And is it one more? Is it
one more?
You like Nick?
And NBC's Ahmed Fareed.
Ahmed will be very much into this. Okay.
They're three high profile.
Lafitte Pinkeye the third and Ahmed Fareed. I got it written down, noted.
All right. So you're next, Britt.
Okay.
Just hold the glass up for us so we can.
Okay, hold on. Oh, gross.
There's a mess everywhere.
No. I'm just. Oh, wow. Okay. This is gonna be a challenge. Oh, and there's just. Okay. Can I have a countdown? I need some help.
5.
No? Okay.
4. 3. 2. 1. Drink the egg. Do you know
that
what?
wasn't that bad.
I think the 3 of us have done quite well here.
Do it for Dan. Wow. How am I going to feel after that? Okay. I think I'm okay. Okay. My 3. Well, since my father's watching and giving me a hard time for this, Peter Urton.
Yep.
1.
Yep.
2, I think we could get some big name jockeys into this. So Mike Smith.
What about Chad? Guest from last week.
Okay, so we'll go big jockey and then
if Rob's
Chad Brown
as well.
And
Rob Highland.
Yeah, well, we've nominated.
Bob Baffert. You nominated him.
Yeah.
So my 3 nominations: Peter Urton, Mike Smith, and Chad Brown. Bring
Excellent.
it on. Do it for Dan.
Oh my word, we're nearly there. We're nearly at the end. Jamie, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for staying up for us.
Time fly when you're having fun, eh?
Well, it does.
This is true.
It does. And over your left shoulder there, you've got what looks like a British Horse Racing Authority fixture list.
It's not actually. But on this, the left becomes your right, whatever.
Yeah.
The optional claiming number.
All right. It looks as though.
Can we hopefully see you at Ascot? I mean, you and the family do put together the best tailgates.
Well, there's one thing for certain. I'm going to be saving a lot of money at Ascot this year.
Yeah.
But let's hope it's on. But obviously, there won't be the demand for people to drink my drink. But let's hope it's on in some shape or form.
Yeah, the fingers crossed. And it does look as though we are, or at least our authorities here in Britain are moving towards getting some racing on, if the government allow them to, sometime in May. I see, Brittany, today that Tampa Bay Downs have extended through May the 30th. You're waiting at Santa Anita, and New York, who knows, they might start in June if everything holds together.
No, we're not quite sure. So yes, waiting on Santa Anita's decision. Hopefully that comes within the next couple of days. Oaklawn Park, we still got some massive racing there, a possible split of the Arkansas Derby. So there's still some excitement to look forward to, but obviously can't move forward until we get the approval. So we shall see. But I know that they're doing everything and more to make sure everybody's safe and healthy back there.
And not to forget TVG on NBCSN continuing through to the end of May.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a wonderful partnership thus far between TVG and NBCSN. So yes, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 1 to 5 Pacific time. Thanks for allowing the shout out. And I'm really looking forward to the team that we've got on this next week.
Next week, we will be joined by almost the entire NBC Sports horse racing team, including the man himself, Mr. Mike Tirico, Ahmed Farid, Lafitte Pinkai, Donna Brothers, Jerry
Kenny
Bailey,
Rice.
Randy Moss, Kenny Rice. If I've
Eddie,
missed
did
anyone
we
out,
Eddie
I'm in all
Olczyk?
sorts of trouble. Eddie Olczyk, of course. I knew I was going to miss somebody out. And one or two of our intrepid production team as well might be joining us too. So that is something to look forward to. Thank you very much for joining us, Jamie.
Follow this.
It will be tough to follow this. We're not going to make anyone do anything. Well, actually, we are, because we've already nominated half of them. Do it for Dan. Don't forget, you can contribute to our fundraising effort on this show as well, raising money for 3 really important charities, the Racetrack Chaplaincy of America, and also the USBG COVID-19 relief campaign for the Bartender Emergency Assistance Program and the Restaurant Workers Relief Program. For all those around the country at the moment, at racetracks and elsewhere, who simply cannot work and need your assistance. So breederscup.com/donate. We've already raised $6,000 and we're keeping on going. So for all those charitable endeavors,
too small.
Thank you. As I say, as Brittany says, no donation is too small. Back with us with the whole crew next week. Jamie, thank you very much. We will see you again soon.
Real quick, Nick,
go.
Should I save this video for next week? Because it appears as if my father has already accepted the challenge. Save it for next week?
Yes, save it for next week.
All right, perfect. Jamie,
Tom
thank you so
Ampey.
much. Tell your family hello. We appreciate you joining us. I know it's late.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Stay at home, stay safe from all of us.
Thank you.
Night, see you next week.
Cheers.